So first of all, I would again like to thank Clinically Evolve for organizing this session and giving us an opportunity to guide the students about the various global career pathways. So a quick introduction to our expert today. Our expert's name is Mr. Chirag Khutia. He is an India's top career coach for students planning for a career in medicine. He has successfully guided over 50,000 plus students and more counting on to choose their right career path. He has more than 15 years of experience in international medical education domain, working with various companies like Kaplan, Becker Healthcare, and so on. He has extensively traveled to US and his students have successfully matched into residency and fellowship programs in US. He has delivered informative sessions on USMLE in 350 plus medical colleges pan India, and he practically believes in the quote, pursue excellence and the success will follow. So over to you, Chirag sir, and all the best to you, sir, and to all the students for this wonderful session.
All right. So thank you very much. Am I audible? Can you hear me well? If you can confirm.
Yes, we can hear you.
All right. Perfect. 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 Makes sense. Perfect. So, first of all, thank you very much for this warm introduction. And I would like to also, thank the entire team of Clinical Evolve, the president, Mr. Ritik Savla and Shubham Sankalp for making this happen. And I appreciate, leading these initiatives while, you're part of a very intensive professional education program. So appreciate each effort. Perfect. So the first and the important question which I want to pose, how many of you have read about this viral post? I would recommend, as much as possible, if you can be interactive in the chat box and confirm how many of you have seen this viral post. This is about a junior doctor's position in GTB hospital in Delhi, where there were 20 positions and more than 500 applicants turned up. So the idea is that in this session, to do it for the community, to do it for a small cohort, usually we do it for a bigger audience, is to make it more interactive and making sure that you most of it. All right. So the station, okay. Year on year, the number of seats which are increasing at an undergrad MBBS level, and the impact of that in terms of government introducing new post graduation position, which directly impacts the employability. So today, the idea of this session is purely from the career counseling point of view. Now, we at Consult CK, we are basically career coaches and career counselors to medical students. Okay, and I'm sure during the course of session you will realize what is the difference between, just exam provider, tuition provider, or a coaching provider, an admission agent, and a career counselor. That is what we're trying to kind of explain you during this session. All right. Perfect. So, as I said, if it is going to be interactive, that can help. Kevin, thank you for participating. I would request others to also engage so that it becomes more meaningful to each one of you. All right. Now, this is very important information for all of you to understand and maybe realize at the back, on the back of your mind. All right. Who influences MBBS students' career decision? What do you think? Who are the key stakeholders? Who decide what careers people choose, whether they choose a UK FLAB, whether they choose a AMC exam or a NEET PG. First of all, are UK FLAB, NEET PG, AMC, are these careers, or these are just an entrance examination? Now, this is a very important question which all of you need to understand. The decision of careers, first of all, who is responsible? And second, obviously, is, how do you decide? So can I get some feedback? What do you think are the influencing factors? Anybody wants to give a try on? Like, how do you decide on your career? Is it your seniors? Is it your parents? Is it social media? Is it influencers? Absolutely. Archit said their career, not just an exam, and influencing factor is work-life balance. Agree, work-life balance is a factor. But the decision making, how today's MBBS, medical college students are making. The reason I want to pinpoint this is because I want to also give you an analogy, analogy to understand the decision of career. Should it be done by some coaching class provider, or should it be done by a career coach, or other factors, as Chid rightly mentioned, like a work-life balance? It is parents, absolutely, yes. Passion, which is a role model, 100%. That's a good, I would say, influencing factor, Shruti. But is the reality the same? The reason I'm asking is that, let's say tomorrow you walk into a Domino's outlet, and if you ask them what is the good food to eat, what do you think they will answer? If you go to any Domino's outlet and if you ask what is a good food to eat, what is there? Absolutely, it will be pizza, right, Paras? And that is the challenge. What is happening that students, walk into X coaching center or Y coaching center, and if I am providing coaching for UK PLAB, I will say PLAB is good. If I am providing coaching for AMC Australia, I will say Australia is good. If I am providing coaching for USMLE, I will say USMLE is good. That is not the right way to decide on your career. All right. And that is what I want to address. Unfortunately, today's reality is that majority of students, make decisions based on the tuition coaching providers or certain faculties who would say, what, this is what is good. So there is always a hidden, interest involved, right? Obviously, seniors are important, but I would say the key role or the right decisions would always be with specialty mentors or career coaches. And fortunately, unfortunately, is also the truth that today social media and the fear of missing out, just because a radiologist or a dermatologist social media profile looks very interesting, people take decisions. And that is not how you make decisions. So reason I am discussing this today is that please attend this session without any bias of India, US, UK, Australia. No, just think from the career point of view and then come out with the best solution. And I believe that will actually make life very easy for all of you. All right. And decision making will become more meaningful once you start thinking from your career perspective. So I would rather say be selfish, but in the right way, and not get influenced by, other things which are there to kind of market you. All right. Perfect. So what is the competition in Indian medical education system? Okay, let's understand that very clearly. Roughly 24 lakh students are writing the NEET UG for about 1 lakh 28,000 seats. So first of all, pat on your back and feel yourself lucky. If you are in your medical school, respect the fact that you are lucky that there were more than 24 lakh aspirants actually considering for that position. If you are secured, you are a first year, second year, final year student, be thankful to the God and parents and people who have been responsible for where you are. Appreciate the fact that you are part of a program which is one of the most competitive across the globe. And hence, respect it and make sure you make something out of this professional course. Because unlike, let's say, your friends from, let's say, BCom or other programs where the course ends only in 3 years, 4 years, right? In MBBS, you are spending almost half a decade. So make sure you learn about life, you learn about medicine, you learn about how to deal with challenges in life. All right. Like it or not, this is something I'm sure all of you are facing it, right? So it is important for each one of you to appreciate the fact that you are in a very serious program, right? And then when you talk about post-graduation, as I said, just MBBS is not helping. I mean, for a job of 20 positions, more than 30 people turned out, right? So which means that you have to write for more than 500 people turned out, which means that, if you want to succeed, you will have to do the post-graduation, okay? So for PG, roughly around 2.28 lakh students are writing exam for about 80,291 seats as latest announced by the government. Now, the bigger difference here is that when you say MBBS, under graduation, all of you are in this one program. Moment the post graduation comes, all of you get divided into 30, 40 different programs. So let's say if a class of 100, everybody says that I want to become an MD medicine or an MS surgeon, it's not possible. Usually 5% of people get one specialty and rest all get divided into other different programs. So that is something you have to kind of keep in mind. And today's day, I will talk about the NHS, mandate also, which talks about deep expertise. So no longer it is just about MD. You have to focus on your DM cardiology, DM nephrology, MCH cardiothoracic surgery, plastic surgery, which means super specialization is equally important, for which roughly 20,000, people apply for about 5,500 seats. So as you see, the competition is narrowing, and which really means that all of us, have to have a strategy in place. Strategy from the career point of view, and strategy not to get influenced by the social media or probably the coaching providers. That is what I would rightly say. It is important that you know yourself honestly, identify your strengths, and then pick up a course and a country. I always say, which country, which course is probably the secondary thing. First, look inwards, find out your strengths, and then analyze which all countries, how many seats are there. Do your due diligence and research, because you've already spent 5.5 years in a course, another 3, 4 years in another program. It is important that do your research well. All right. So why start working on your CV from first year of medical school? Now, this is something I have been talking in medical schools across India since 2017. I have done sessions, right from the government medical college in Jammu till down south in Kerala, and I've so far covered almost like about 400 med schools across India. And this is a message I carry, that this is the day and age of personal branding. Gone are the days that it was just about securing a great NEET PG score. Within your friends, family, you might realize that there are some doctors who are doing fantastic in their practice, while some are still struggling to put their foot right. And the reason is personal branding. This has become so important in day and age that you need to work on that. And which is why I say that start thinking about what you will be doing for the next 30 years of your life. The reason we have clinical rotation, where you're rotating in different departments in your medical school, is because you need to realize that there are some departments where you enjoy and you don't realize about the time. But there are some departments where you just keep on looking at time. When does this duty get over? So identify what is it that you want to do for the next 30 years of your life. This is going to be very, very important from your career point of view. And whenever you think about people who have an early guidance, the way they develop their career or they prop up to their opportunities, I mean, it's fantastic. And that is the only difference I say between certain successful doctors and people who are still struggling. They very early in their career planning, they were very good at time management. These are things, life skills, which you learn as you become serious about your career. All right. And fortunately, unfortunately, you see the geopolitics around us, the VUCA world we are living in post-COVID, right? The times are volatile, uncertain. We don't know what's happening. And on one side, AI is ready to kind of take over the world already, right? So we have to make sure that in this volatile and uncertain world, chaotic world, how are we going to be successful? It is very important that you discover what are the competitive PG, what are the pathways, and how are you going to navigate. For which it is very, very important that you are going to actually work around during your medical school. We are in the age of social media. What's happening right now in Iran, US, or any other country? Yeah, you're getting a real-time update, right? And that is what we have to also do regarding your career choosing, whether if you're planning to do post-graduation in US or Australia or UK. It's very easy now to interact with doctors there and find out what's the reality. And some of the glimpse on how to do so is what we're going to discuss in the session today. All right. I hope it's making sense. All of you are with me? Perfect, perfect. Thank you. So the bottom line is there is no right or wrong path. I always tell my students, please don't compare your journey with your junior, with your senior. Only thing what you have to do is how I was when the year started, let's say January 26, and how I am going to end my year December 26, and then break it down to months and year and weeks. What did I do in the last 1 week? Did I improve in terms of my knowledge, my skills, or just to explore about opportunities? As long as you're doing that, you'll be successful in this VUCA world. So there are people who have got like USMLEs, then NEET PG, and are successfully working now with India. There are people who went through the USMLE journey, successfully working in America. There are people who went straightforward with a PG journey. There are some who are still struggling and trying to figure out their careers in health tech, in startup, or becoming healthcare entrepreneurs. So each one to each one, right? So there is no right or wrong in MBBS, and I request you sincerely, never compare your journey with anybody else but yourself. How are you in your first year, in second year, in third year? Are you gradually improving or not? These are few things you have to kind of keep in mind before you kind of take any decision. All right. So typically, what are the type of students which are available for career planning? Now, why I discuss this is because a lot of times, after the NEET PG results, I am getting frantic calls of thousands of students, and many a time that's a very late approach to decide. Are you aware that 80% of MBBS students, decide on a specialization real time during NEET PG counseling? They don't have a plan in advance, and this is very drastic. You might hear from friends, that okay, I picked up so and so field, but I'm not liking it. The reason is deciding it impromptu as per the Indian healthcare system. Whatever score is available and whatever specialization is available at that score, people take decision, which is not a healthy way to decide next 30 years of your life. So what you have to do is that broadly, not now, not immediately if you're in first, second, third year, but as you reach, let's say, in your core rotation, that's your final year and your internship year, broadly start understanding and in your mind bifurcate yourself whether you are a course specific or a country specific student. What do I mean by that? Now, there are some students who are very clear. I only want to do general surgery. I only want to do radiology. I only want to do pediatrics. I only want to do internal medicine. If you are a course specific student, I will show you the actual data. I would recommend you to keep at least multiple countries entrance exam, license exam preparation open. Now, you cannot rely on one single country. Okay. Similarly, if you are a country specific student, meaning I only want to work in India, I only want to work in US, I only want to work in UK. In that case, please keep multiple course option open. That okay, if I don't get medicine, my second option will be pediatric, my third option will be psychiatric. Are you getting it? The reason I'm saying this because we are all, part of a student community. The idea is to give you a real, honest, unbiased view. The only place where this matching happens is if you get into top merit ranks in India, or obviously you get into a private med school in India where you're spending like crores of rupees, where an average age at which students are financially independent after studying from a private med school is 32 years, where you're no longer dependent on your parents. So these are few factors you have to kind of keep in mind when you are looking at your career plan, right? And each country will have their license examinations come entrance examination. So far, all awake, all with me. Anybody has any questions? Just a quick response. Anybody, I hope all of you is awake. Does it make sense? Anyone who just like to, confirm that I just want to ensure that everybody is awake. Everyone? Okay, thanks, Kevin. Thanks for the acknowledgement. Thank you. Perfect. So this is important. We are talking about a doctor of future. So recently, National Health Service (NHS) UK had published, a particular information. All right. where they were talking about who is the doctor of future, all right? And this is applying to all the geographies. It is not just to do with India or UK or any other country, all right? What they are saying is that due to the shortage of specialized physician, okay, they're expecting people to have a broad range of generalist skill in your discipline and cross-discipline, competency. So, as a doctor of future should have horizontal generalist skills. I'll give you an example. I went to do a session in one of the med school in Indore, and I was just speaking to one of the psychiatry professor, and he mentioned, a lot of cities in and around Indore, the smaller towns, right? They don't have access to neurology professionals. So what happens is the psychiatrists play a first line of defense to treat patients with neurology ailments to a particular level until the patient is then referred to a tertiary care to meet a specialist neurologist, right? Which means that you should have a parallel, discipline knowledge as well. At the same time, gone are the days about just being a general surgeon. Now it is about general surgery, let's say orthopedic, spine, hip, a particular part, right? So you are expected to have a deep expertise in your own domain. So it's very, very important that you're focusing on super specialization, all right? And that is what NHS is saying. A doctor who will be successful would have to follow the team methodology, which means you cannot sleep in your other specialization classes or other specialization rotation. Oh, you know what? I am any which is going to practice as a pediatrician. Why do I worry in my OBGYN rotation? That's not how it will work. Have to support, branches which are going to interact during the day-to-day operations. All right. So it's very important that you understand that and make sure that your approach is accordingly developed when you're planning to kind of build a career in this VUCA AI-based world. All right. Also, we are entering into a healthcare system which is very, very different. Okay, this is not a regular healthcare system. If you check out the business, projections for, Meta, Amazon, Google, everybody is getting into healthcare big time. So we are moving to a ecosystem where you as a physician will be monitoring your patients real time. And that is a big opportunity in terms of the how ecosystem is going to develop. If you see the government of India mandate, other than Aadhaar card, now they are talking about Aadhaar card. So they are collecting electronic health records. The variables, what you see are optionals today, slowly will become mandatory, where your patients will be, sending a lot of data, which will be reflected to you real time, just like, it happens for stock market at like this point of time, right? You can see the stock markets going up and down. So you will be able to monitor your patients' vitals real time, which also brings to multiple new careers. Imagine, this kind of data getting generated on a daily basis. We will require healthcare professionals who can understand data analysis. So there are newer jobs coming up, newer career opportunities coming up for healthcare data analysis. We will require healthcare professionals who understand technology. So healthcare technologists, healthcare data scientists, healthcare, information specialists, and for that matter, healthcare and AI is the future, right? So point what I'm trying to, I'll just give you a single example. Let's say we consider a particular area in Maharashtra, let's say Mumbai. Now, in particular area of Mumbai, there is a sudden spike of people suffering from blood pressure or diabetes. Now, the government has that data. Suddenly, the government and the public health professionals from government have an opportunity to campaign specifically on diabetes prevention and screening and maintenance in that particular area. Suddenly, the pharma companies have this data to explore in terms of their drug solutions. So you see, this data and analyzing this data will have $1 million opportunity, and which is why in the health tech space, you'll see more and more startups coming up. Now, you might be wondering, we are in a global medical career session, and I'm just talking about careers, right? The reason is geography will become immaterial. It is just a degree, you might have it from India, from US, UK, but as you practice the world is going to become flatter, and hence it is going to be very important you understand the ecosystem well in advance. All right. So typically, what are the career options one has after MBBS? Okay, let's understand that one by one. So typically, I am looking at a post graduation. Now that post graduation can be clinical or non-clinical. I am looking at clinical PG. Then I have my best option as India, and then United States. Okay, I'm looking at doing a job after my MBBS. Immediately, I can pick up a job as a JD or an RMO in India. Or if I clear the license exam, I can work in Middle East, in UK, Australia as a job. Because we become part of the Commonwealth countries, our MBBS degrees are directly recognized. As long as we clear the license exam, we can directly work here as a generalist role. And the bigger opportunity, I've been interacting with few of my students who have started their clinical practice in 2 and 3 tier cities of India. They have a happy life, content life, and they are earning good money. So even clinical practice will become big, in the future. All right. In fact, it's bigger now as well. But when say post graduation, there are some countries where you will be able to do post graduation, and there are some countries you can do a job after PG. You have to understand this math very, very clearly as we will discuss it in detail. And this I will prove it by exact number of seats, and not just because a coaching provider is providing coaching for MECI, he will say Canada is the best option, or a coaching provider is from Australia, he says AMC is the best option. That's not how it works. We will talk about actual number of seats in these countries, and then you decide, okay, which country is good for PG, which country after PG you can settle, right? So globally, every country you go has a license examination. Please understand that very, very clearly, okay? Now, US has an entrance exam come license exam called as USMLE. UK has PLAB. India has NEXT. Canada has MECI, Medical Council of Canada Evaluation Exam. Australia has AMC, Australian Medical Council Exam. New Zealand has New Zealand Registration Exam. Germany has Fachfachprüfung and Kenntnisprüfung. These are two entrance exam. One is medical terminology and second entrance exam to their PG. And Gulf country, each of the Emirat have their own exam. So Ministry of Health, Saudi, Dubai Health Authority, Health Authority of Abu Dhabi, Saudi MLE, different examination. Obviously, you understand the geopolitics and what's happening. So to be very careful on what country we are choosing at this point of time. All right. Now, in terms of the difficulty level, the most difficult exam is, I would say, USMLE and the Indian PG. If you are able to manage any Indian postgrad or USMLE exam, others become easier. Now, this next obviously is right now dicey because right now it's NEET PG. The government of India was proposing next back in 2019 for the 2024 exit group, but it still has not happened. Elections and a lot of other compulsions. So we might want to right now talk only on the NEET PG basis. All right. But still, NEET PG and the USMLE are the most difficult examinations. If you can prepare for these exams, you can clear any country's license examination. In UK, the route is via PLAB or the UKMLA, which will be replaced soon. And PLAB will be replaced by UKMLA in a couple of years. Right now, the local students are protesting. But yes, it is a prediction that it might happen. Okay. And second route is Royal College of Physician examination. I'll talk about that much in detail. Canada has an exam called as MECI. Okay. Now, please understand in terms of number of post-graduation seats, US has roughly around 43,000 PG seats, and they have roughly around 30,000 MBBS seats. So obviously, they have more PG seats than MBBS seats. UK has 15,000 seats, and right now the NHS said for every one seat there are 24 applicants. India has 80,000 PG seats. Canada has 2,000. Australia has 5,500, 5,000. So please understand that to do PG, the highest number of seats are in India, followed by US, and then you can say UK. But obviously, UK has their own challenges, right? But if you have a post graduation from India or United States, you can very well work in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, Germany, not Germany for that, but Germany or any European countries require their own exam, or Gulf countries. Now, Europe has a very different mandate. In Europe, every country would require you to clear the license exam and a proficiency of their exam. Please listen to me carefully. Once the Indo-Europe FTA, Free Trade Agreement happened, suddenly lot of agents have cropped up and they are talking about easy route for doctors in Germany or any part of the Europe. The rule for Europe is you don't require German language A1, A2, B1, B2. You require German language A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2 proficiency. Unless you have that, whatever exams you clear, it has no value. First thing. Second, it's a one-way route. If you have a degree from Germany, it's in German language. You cannot come back and work ever in India. You can only work in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. This is very important. You can Google yourself. Last year, a scam broke down in the national capital region, Delhi NCR. Suddenly on Instagram, there was an agent saying medical PG in Spain. USMLE is difficult. UK was not happening. So every parent, rushed and they just said 20 lakhs and you get into a Spanish medical college. In reality, these admission agents admit you only into the language program. So it became like 9 months, 10 months. Students realized they were only in a Spanish language school. There was no sight of anything to do with medicine. When they were approaching agent back in India, they said, boss, you are not able to clear the language exams. We can't do anything about medical. So be very, very careful when it comes to Europe, unless you have the proficiency of German language C2, don't even think about German. Otherwise, if it is, you're ready at C2 level and a one-way route, then it is a great option. There is less competition, but your success is your language proficiency more than your clinical acumen. All right. Rest all countries, obviously, as I said, if you have a PG from US and India, it's kind of better. Obviously, challenges, in US is our orange man, the kind of policies he's coming up with and the way he's threatening the world. But the reality is, US still produces only 30,000 MBBS students, all right? So they do require at least 13, 14,000 PG candidates outside their country. So hence the match is still happening for Indian doctors, all right? And obviously, the USMLE process is long, requires a lot of hard work. It is not an easy examination, all right? PLAB, on the other hand, is comparatively the most easy examination, but obviously this has different challenges. We'll be discussing that as we talk about individual licenses. All right. The challenges with PLAB, obviously BAPU, British Association of Physicians of Indian Origin, talking about tax, visa, racism. We'll talk that much in detail. India, obviously competition is high. You only settle if you do it from a private med school. Average age at which financially you're independent is 32 years. Right. Canada, the career is great. It's a government job. There's nothing called as private sector. But if you want to work or let's say grow very faster, then obviously you're looking at India or US as a better option. Australia, expensive lifestyle, quota, and the long licensing process. How long we'll be discussing in the next few slides. New Zealand is a very small country. I always say the veterinary physician earn more than a human physician. If you consider any smaller city in India will have 3 times more the medical colleges, 10 times more the hospitals than any city of New Zealand. So obviously you have to think from that perspective. But yes, Middle East, right now it's in turmoil, but otherwise it was a great opportunity for doctors, especially Indian physicians. I have a lot of students whose parents are doctors and working in the Gulf countries. And obviously to do PG, they don't have these seats, but they really pay well to Indian physicians, degree from India or for that matter, UK or US, so they really appreciate Indian doctors. It is very simple. I went to a med school in Bhopal, okay, and the dean of one of the med school was the director of infection control with the Saudi government, and he said that compared to let's say the doctors coming from Egypt or Jordan, they prefer Indian doctors. So he gave a very interesting anecdote. He said that for example, in UK, even a small supermarket will not have a non-white as a team leader, versus in Gulf countries, all the hospitals usually have HODs who are from Indian origin. So that kind of respect is what we command. All right. Perfect. So moving ahead, let's talk about the US license pathway. Quick poll and an understanding. How many of you heard about USMLE or are interested about knowing about USMLE? Feel free to, type in. How many of you have heard about USMLE or are interested? Or for that matter, whichever country you are preparing, US, USMLE, UK, PLAB, Australia, AMC, whatever countries you are thinking about or you are preparing, if you can mention in the chat column, that would be great. So that can help, anybody. I mean, Preeta says AMC, perfect. AMC, all right. Archit says AMC, very good. There are a lot of students for Australia. USMLE, Madiha, all right. Perfect. PLAB, all right. Perfect, perfect. Great. So we'll talk about each and every country and their pros and cons. That is very important for every country. We'll talk about all the pros and cons, and accordingly we should plan things. All right. Perfect. Shubham says PLAB or the USMLE. All right. Now, first mandate or the first information, it is important for all of you to be aware of that the US licensing pathway process. Okay, it's a four-stage process. First stage is you need to have a ECFMG certification. Okay, how do you get that? By submitting your degree and passing marks of USMLE step 1, a very good score on step 2 CK, and a pathway exam. Earlier it was a step 2 CS practical exam. Now there is an exam called as OET temporarily until we have a firm confirmation. So this is a stage 1, which obviously the exams start as early as third year of medical school. People can start writing it. So initial step, you have to prove that your degree outside US is equal to the American degree. And once you do so, you get this ECFMG certification, after which you can apply for your post-graduation. Interesting, Pranati says non-clinical pathway. We'll discuss that as well. Perfect. Perfect. Now, stage 2 is obviously the residency. The residency is for a period of 3 to 5 years. Okay. Medicine is a 3-year program, surgery is a 5-year program. And you need to understand very importantly that the US is one process where we say it's a cashback program. Why do we say cashback? The total expenditure for you to complete all of these steps in the USMLE process is around 25 lakh. Okay. How and all, we can discuss that much later, where you are giving all these examinations, the clinical rotations, and, applications to university. The total expenditure is about 25 lakh, right? Now, once you start your medical residency in America, you get paid a salary annually of roughly around 50 to 60 lakh rupees. So 3 years of internal medicine, you are earning about 1.5 crores. If you minus the tax and everything, you still are left with 75 lakhs. So you are earning at least 3x of what you have invested was the process. Okay. And at this point in time, the total investment count here is about 55% in the American process. Then let's talk about the board license. Okay. What happens is after you complete your post graduation, okay, you have to appear for a final examination called as the board examination. Once you clear that, you can either come back and work in India, continue working in America, provided you clear the step 3 exam, or study further for the fellowship programs. Okay. Please understand the American degrees, UK degree, or Australian degree, these are all directly recognized back here in India. No problem whatsoever. Okay. During fellowship, you don't have to appear for a separate examination. Like in India, for super specialization, you have to write the NEET super specialization. In America, using the same USMLE step 1, step 2 CK, and step 3 scores, you can very well apply for the fellowship. No separate examinations to be appeared. And in the process, the total expenditure, I said, is about 25 lakhs. And this after graduation will take about 2 to 3 years, after which you join the PG program. Please understand in all of these pathway, how much time does it take? Otherwise, time value of money is what people don't understand. Okay, please understand it very, very clearly, and then you take a decision. Now, what are the pitfalls or the challenges in the US process? The bigger challenge in the US process is the visa. You know what people say, the visa, but please understand which visa is a problem. Is it F1 visa? No. Is it H1B visa? No. These are two visas which are not to be worried about. The only visa you need to be worried about as a student is a B1, B2 tourist visa, because these have a selection rate for doctors only 50%, and which you can apply right now as a student, because once you have this tourist visa, it is valid for 10 years. Your residency happens 95% of programs on J1 visa and 5% on H1B visa. Now, this rejection rate for J1 and H1B for doctor has been less than 2% only. So which visa you should be worried about? H1B, J1 or B1, B2? So this B1, B2 visa, you approach any travel agent and you can get this visa. Okay, and this is the only visa you need to be worried about, no other visa. Obviously, you want to discuss in detail, we can have a separate call to explain you all of these as well. Not a problem. But the bottom line is, at the end of fellowships, you can continue working in America, come back to India, your choice. Now, while I'm discussing individual pathways, if anybody has questions, please feel free to type in. I'll be taking those questions at the end. All right. Now, let's talk about Australia. A lot of them were talking about the AMC. So, what are the pathways for Australia? So broadly, there are three ways you can enter in Australia. Okay, one is the standard pathway, second is competent authority, and third is specialist path. For all, you require AMC examination. Okay, absolutely no problem. You know, you go to a coaching provider, he says Australia is great, and Australia is great, but you need to understand how do you enter Australia. If your aim is to do post graduation, well, you should have a reality check. But the standard pathway will allow that, okay, you do your EPIC, that is via ECFMG, your profile checking, your English test, that is your OET exam. And once you pass your AMC1 examination, you can start finding a job offer in the Australian healthcare system. Most of the students you see today, the day and age of Instagram, doctors in Australia are working as registrars. You will find very, very, very few doctors who are working as post graduation. So, although the PESC is done and they are registered with the AHPRA, Australian Health, Physicians Regulation Authority, most of the doctors are working as a registrar and they are working in a generalist role. If you ask them when is the PG happening, no answer, because the number of seats are less. We will be discussing that. You need to understand the reality, whether you want to do PG, if that is your aim, are you going there, or you want to pick up a job in Sydney, Melbourne, or something? That's a different story. Second is competent authority pathway. What is that? Let's say I've given my USMLE examinations, and let's say you are ECFMG certified, or I have given my UK PLAB examination, I'm not getting a job in UK, I am GMC certified. In that case, you might not have to write all the AMC examination, you'll have an exemption, and you still have to write one of the step, do your OETs, you look for a job offer. Again, it is talking about job. Competent authority is also talking about a job. PG may or may not happen, because for PG you have to get registered with a Royal Australian College of different specialization. Okay, most of the time people get registered with Royal Australian College of General Physician, RACGP, and not some specialization. So you should have data in hand. If you speak to any coaching provider, tell them, okay, can you give me at least 10 names of doctor who are doing PG? Please call them up. Are you in a PG program, or you are a registrar, or you are just registered with the General Council? Please do the thorough due diligence. So what is the great way if one wants to settle in Australia? This is very, very important. If I want to settle in Australia, the strategy would be I will clear the NEET PG examination. I will take the PG seat in India. And that's what many of my alumni have done. And under the specialist pathway, they have flown to Australia, they've gone to Canada. Because if you already have a PG in India, no, there are PG options available, but the seats are very less. Mind you, India produces one Australia every year. One Australia, that's our reproduction rate. To understand how many seats are available. Also, I will show you actual mobility data. The fact that British doctors are not getting jobs in UK, Indian, Pakistani, and Sri Lankan doctors are not getting jobs in Australia. This is actual global mobility data, which I'll talk to you in the next few slides. So please understand, if I want to work in Australia, I have no problem. Australia is one of the safest country. In spite of whatever wars are happening, they don't have to worry about. But to do post-graduation, they don't have that many seats. So if you want to get into the Australian healthcare system, yes, by all means prepare for AMC and all the examinations. But get your PG in India and then look for a job. This again, I will talk to you with actual data, not otherwise. Please understand, getting a PR is most easy. And by any chance, if you get hold of any study abroad agents, what they will say, okay, if you want to go to consider Australia, best thing is pursue a MPH or an MHA program in which you don't get a job, they get a commission from the university, you are spending more than 1 crore rupees, and then figure out all these onshore. Believe me, 5 years, 10 years ago, that's what a lot of people have done. Unfortunately, today, none of them is working as a doctor in Australia. So don't get into all of those things. And we are living in the age of social media. All there on LinkedIn. We are professionals. Speak to at least 10 doctors who are doing PG in Australia and then take decisions. Okay. Please understand exactly. Even after doing PG in India, some people are doing registrar job. I'll tell you the reason. I was just speaking to an Australian, physician last month, and she mentioned there is an anesthesiologist in India. He is going through the equivalency process to work as an anesthesiologist. In India, anesthesiology is a 3-year program. In Australia, it's a 6-year program. So he has been first of all, just to prove equivalency, they're taking years and years, 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. He spent about $21,000. That's when he came to know that so what will he do till that? That's correct. That's absolutely correct information. Paras, what you've mentioned, that is the reality. So that is what I'm trying to say, that you should go and choose based on the clear-cut picture of what you are going to face ahead in terms of number of years and the journey ahead. Now, what are the challenges in Australia? International doctors unable to work in Australia due to broken system. Okay. Concerns over international doctors' fast pathway. These are actual media reports. I will share it to you after the session. Hidden and heartbreaking cost of an IMC journey. Please understand this very, very clearly. Please see this. Somebody who already had a PG from India. How many years did it took to get in Dr. Chowdhury? In December 2014, he went to Australia after having PG. Same thing. The AMC coaching providers showed very, bright picture of, his career and everything. He spent there. It was May 2017. He kept on giving one exam, clinical exam, 2,000 job offers, and after spending how much money? Total money for each and every step. Australia is very expensive, which these people don't talk. He spent roughly around $21,000 just for assessment. For all these many years, you have to live in Australia, the living cost, all other costs, and you're still an MBBS, you're not a PG. You have to account for that. Till March 2023, he got into as a fellow of Royal College of General Physician. When did he start his journey? 2014. The problem with Australia is the bureaucracy. Please understand that. This is something I would request each one of you to realize, and not just because my coaching provider is saying this story. All right. Coming back to a very important data about the NHS. Okay, I mentioned to you, just because the UK graduates are not getting jobs in NHS, they are Indians and Pakistanis are not getting jobs in Australia. Let me quickly show you that data right away. It's very much there on my LinkedIn profile. You're free to reach out and download that copy for yourself, and validate it with any expert you have who is kind of dealing with these opportunities for you. Okay. So let's talk about this very, very important data. This was a employability data, okay, which talks about that Australian, this is about mobility. What is happening? That British doctors who are not getting jobs or PG in Australia and New Zealand, they are moving to Australia. And because of that, what is happening with India, Pakistan, Egypt doctors? They are forced to come back to their home country. This is the reality. So Paras again saying the same thing, that if one wants to secure PG in Australia, you will require a lot of patience and time. That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. That PG is possible, but you will have to have after graduation minimum 6 to 7 years, after which you can lead or get into a post graduation program. And it's very simple. I'm not, you name a specialization and it's very easy now, right? We are in a day and age of LinkedIn. There is absolutely no problem. Just type, let's say, MBBS, medicine, you name a specialization, whatever you have in mind. Let's say you want to say, let's say, dermatology. I'm not sure. Whatever specialization you have in mind, MD, okay, MBBS, you've already mentioned India, okay. I mentioned that on LinkedIn, okay. Find out how many candidates you are finding. That will give you a real picture. Don't people. Now select location as Australia. Now find out actively doing a post graduation. 99% of time, because the agent or the coaching provider have sent, people will say, I am an IMG seeking a clinical job in Australia. 99% of time, this is the reality. Very few, very, very senior doctors who might have a job in hand. Otherwise, GMC registered. What does that mean? Tried for UK, did not work, now trying for Australia. Open for job. Eligible for provisional registration, but where is the PG? Where is the job? This is the reality. So that is what we have to understand. Dr. Anunis Sabharwal. Now, what is his journey? MD Psychiatry in India. So what do I say? Specialist pathway. 2015 in India. Now he is recognized as a psychiatrist in India, working a specialist pathway. Now, Dr. Devika, GMC registration, gave all these examinations, cleared, no job in Australia, no job in UK, trying for Australia. That is the reality. Waiting for a job. PG, not a job. I mean, PG. It's a job. AMC tutor, great. Why? Because there is no PG seat available at point of time. So what is I can do? I can work part-time as a tutor for AMC, because that coaching provider will be giving money to teach AMC. But where is my PG? I don't have a PG. I am still an MBBS, and I'm still looking for a PG role in that country. That is the reality. Now let's see Sheshadri Chatterjee. Already has the psychiatry MD from India and hence registered in Australia. So the specialist pathway. Another candidate. What is the story? Again, from India, has a psychiatry registration and then got a job. So as I said, what I was trying to tell you is not to discourage you, but in the day and age of social media, if one wants to work in Australia, it is the safest country in spite of geopolitics, war, and everything. But what is the right way to enter Australia is by the doing a PG either in India or US and then entering via the specialist pathway. Therefore, in that manner, the chances are higher for you to secure. But to that's what I'm saying. Any coaching provider comes to you, tell them I want active name of 10 students who are doing PG in that country. Very simple. For example, I will just give you another example. When we talk about transparency, it is important that you understand what do I mean by transparency, right? So it's very, very important that you understand this so that you can make an informed decision. Okay. So just give me a second. Yeah. All right. So let's say I just go to, let's say, one hospital in America, random hospital in America, and you will be able to see how many students from India are doing internal medicine PG. This is not my hospital. This is a hospital in Indiana, or for that matter, hospital in New York, New Jersey. Open any hospital, you can see, okay, in internal medicine, in pediatrics, in surgery, there is a student studying from Kamineni, from Stanley, from Maulana Azad, from Dayanand Medical College, from BJ Medical College, Ahmedabad, JIPMER, Madras Medical College. Mind you, this is not an Indian hospital. In fact, you don't have data even for your own. Let's say if somebody asks the AIMS Delhi mein, how many students are doing PG from which MBBS college, we don't have that data. But the American system is transparent, where you can see, okay, MIMER, whether you are studying from a private or a BJ Medical College is a government, it does not matter. They will still consider you as long as you are fulfilling their requirements. So, and the same search bar, what you put instead of Australia, if you put United States, you will have active data of people who are pursuing their post graduation. In America, you PGY1, that is post graduation year one. MD General Medicine PGY1, PGY2, MD OBGY. These are real data of candidates who are from India who are doing post graduation. I hope you are able to understand the difference between doing a PG versus doing these examinations. All right. I hope that is making a lot of sense to each one of you to kind of keep in mind that to do post graduation they don't have enough number of seats. Okay. Now, what is the pathway for UK? The PLAB journey, and I always compare it with uh, basically having a driver's license. Clearing the PLAB examination and having a GMC registration is just like having a driver's license. Does that entitle me for if I have a driver's license? Does that mean that guarantee I will get or I'll buy a Mercedes? There is no guarantee, right? I will have to struggle for it. I have to have that much fund finance, then I'll be able to buy a Mercedes. Similarly, you will find thousands of students, from India who will write your GMC registered. How many actually secure a job? That's a very big question. Let's remove, United States. I will just consider India, or for that matter, even United Kingdom, and then see. People are already GMC registered, but how many do have a job? Most of them, if you see, will write this open to work outside their thing, because in reality they are still struggling for job. But the benefit is, if you see the extra course they have, that is what I was talking about, the Royal College of Physician examination. This is something I strongly recommend, that if you are ever thinking about the UK pathway for any specialization, you should consider the Royal College, that is Royal College of Physician, Surgery. Each specialization have their own examination. Please choose the MRCP pathway. Why should you choose the MRCP pathway? First of all, the Royal College of Physician examinations, okay, they have a value even back here in India. If you are MBBS plus MRCP, you are not equal to PG, but at least you have something above your MBBS degree. These qualifications are also valid in Middle East if you're looking for a job. So it's not necessary that you are waiting for a job in UK. So if at all somebody is looking for the UK pathway, I would strongly recommend the Royal College of Physician examination pathway. That's very, very important. Why? Because right now the times are not safe right now in UK. And what are the challenges? Everybody is clearing the UK examination. That's what BAPIO is saying. That so many IMGs are clearing the UK examinations. Where are the jobs? In recent months, so many people have cleared the examinations. Where are the jobs? And this is something I am highlighting in every session of mine. I don't know how many of you have, actually heard about this. Those who are preparing for the UK PLAB, did your coaching provider talk to you about, something very, very important, that in January this year, UK passed a medical prioritization bill while he was busy collecting fees from you for PLAB. Did your coaching provider told you that in the month of January, UK passed a very important bill? So whoever is preparing for PLAB, please understand this bill is passed in the UK Parliament, called as the Medical Prioritization Bill. Already they have very less seats. I will talk to you in terms of how many seats are available. But this bill is passed in the UK Parliament right now. And what does this bill say? That if after clearing PLAB and spending 20 lakhs to your PLAB coaching provider, when you look for PG in UK, what will happen? First, they will give jobs to people who have degree from UK. After that, Republic of Ireland. After that, Switzerland, Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and then comes India. This rule was passed in 2026 January. This is very important for you to know, because again, the same story, people talk about PLAB. In reality, they don't understand what's happening in the UK healthcare system. Okay. I have been regularly talking about it. Direct PLAB is going to be very, very difficult, especially in this geopolitical turmoil. So be very, very careful. Just because PLAB is easy, in spending years and years just trying for post graduation. Let's come back to actual data so that you have much more clarity on what I am talking about. Okay, this was an article in Times of India last December, even in this December, why Indian doctors are leaving UK and coming to India. This is the reason. If you see the number of seats, post-graduation seats in India, 4,767 MD medicine seats, quota of only 52 seats in Canada. Unfortunately, Australia does not publish this data. US has 10,000 seats for PG, UK has only 1,600 seats. Please understand that very, very clearly. Okay. Now, this is for medicine, 10,000 seats. If you see surgery, India has 4,200 seats, Canada has 4 seats, US has 1,700 seats, and UK has 600 seats. So it all depends on specialization also. If it is going to be surgical, it's going to be competitive everywhere. Now, whatever seats you see in India, please divide in 1/3, because 1/3 goes in merit, 1/3 goes in paid seats, and 1/3 in all sort of quota. So even in India, the medicine or surgery seats, MD or MS, are around 1,700-1,800 only. So that is something all of you need to be aware of. And hence, if somebody asks me what is the safest option to do PG based on the number in front of the screen, I always say the best number of seats to do post-graduation, not to settle. Settle is a different thing. My best option always will be India. US might be my plan B, but India is my first option. Please understand, never neglect. I've seen people preparing for PLAB or USMLE, or for that matter, AMCs, that they don't prepare for NEET PG. Well, in our career counseling program, we make a mandate. Outcome is a career, not these entrance exams. So all my students write a NEET PG along with any international exam they are writing. The reason is that we are working to build a career and not just particular country. And after completing PG in India and US, you want to settle, no problem. You can settle in Canada, Australia, and England. It will take its own seat time, but at least you can earn money. You are not no longer dependent on your parents. Please understand from that perspective. There are a lot of questions. I'll be taking them at the end. In the interest of time, I will first cover a few things more to talk about, and then we'll pick up all the questions. So there are also new age careers in fitness, in genomics, in deep tech, in telemedicine, in personal health, in healthcare IT, in home healthcare. There are so many Indian startups which are also coming. So I propose to you, rather than, unless you have a passion, I'm not degrading any field, but let's say in the NEET PG counseling, I don't have an interest, but okay, I am getting a government seat in ND physiology or in, anatomy or biochemistry. Unless it's a passion, I should do that. Otherwise, think about healthcare technology. So many great opportunities are now developing and coming in, thanks to COVID, public health, in health insurance, health informatics, health hospital administration, pharmaceutical research. For those who don't know, India, especially Hyderabad, has become the biotech city of the world. So many pharma companies are coming as a global GCCs here, and there are tremendous opportunities for those interested to research in a lot of these pharma companies. There are opportunities in academic medicine. Governments in 2014 had doubled the medical colleges. Ask yourself, how many faculties do you have in your med schools? If somebody is interested in academic medicine, great opportunities. Leagues like IPL, Pro Kabaddi, or other sports leagues in India have opened up opportunities in sports medicine. Medical writing, technical writing, entrepreneurship. So there are fantastic opportunities provided you dare to dream different, because these careers have a lot on stake, not just in terms of money, but a lot of questions from the society. Why did you do in BGS? And obviously, I always say, you are the only person you are answerable is yourself and your parents. So if you think and are passionate about doing different, there are fantastic growth opportunities in these fields, and you should consider. Now, a quick reason why people consider USMLE post graduation is obviously free of cost. While pursuing PG, students are getting 50 to 60 lakhs as a salary. The selection ratio for international medical graduates is 55% for last 5 years, because they have more PG MBBS seats. Expenditure for USMLE process is minimum 25 lakhs, and opportunity to study further. Just for your information, if you now see, earlier it was only for radiology or orthopedics, MD or DNB from India, but now even if you have a medicine, pediatrics, or a psychiatry MD or DNB from India, and you've cleared all the USMLE examinations, there are newer pathway opening up in 25 states in America. With your Indian postgraduate degree, if you've given all your MLE exam, you can get a license to practice in 25 states. So there are new legalities coming up simply because of shortage. So we can discuss that also in detail if you are interested, in one-on-one. So total investment. Now, bottom line is how many years and money I will spend in each pathway to figure out or realize what's happening with you. Now, this is something I would request each one of you to take a screenshot, come back to me after 5 years. Many of you might not agree now. Come back to me in 5 years and say that, okay, this was not correct. I want you to do that, because 90% of time, students listen to me in such sessions. They still waste time in the UK process and then come back to me after 5 years that, sir, what you mentioned is correct, right? So what is happening for the US process, you are going to spend 2 to 3 years after MBBS, spend 25 lakh rupees, and our outcome is PG. Immigration, maybe it's difficult. I would not say it's very easy. For the UK process, after 2 to 3 years, you might get a job. I'm not talking about PG, and you will spend 20 to 25 lakhs. However, less your agent is talking about. Don't understand the cost of living in London, thanks to the financial turmoil, what is happening. And until you get something substantial, like a PG or something, you will minimum spend 25 lakh rupees. If you are going to if you're in India, no problem. But if you're going to figure out in going to UK recommended by your coaching provider, this is the reality. Same as with Australia. Coaching providers will give you big picture, send you to Australia, and if you spend this 25 lakhs, job, immigration difficult. Your immigration might be possible because there's an immigration friendly country. If your PR point, you might get an immigration. But will you get a PG in Australia? That's a big question mark. But yes, immigration very much possible. As I said, those who are interested in non-clinical, you will get PG in 1 to 2 years, no problem. Your investment will be 70 lakhs to 1 crore. Outcome is PG. Immigration is difficult unless you are into health technology, healthcare data science. Otherwise, right now, the PR for MPH and all is not becoming very easy because there are not much jobs available in public health or healthcare management at this point of time. So yes, so a lot of time people debate, spending this money in a non-clinical course versus doing a PG from a private medical college in India. Might as well do a PG, and if I have a private PG, I might as well can apply for the specialist pathway in UK or Australia and look for jobs, right? So that is something you have to understand and do the cost benefit analysis. Sincere request, all of you can take a screenshot of this page. And if anybody has a deviation that okay, I just spent let's say 4 lakhs and I've got a PG in Australia or a PG in UK, I'll be happy to be defeated. But the reality is it is not how it is. So please understand that time value of money. After 3 years, you will just land up a first job in Australia or a first job in UK after 2 years. And that's also a generalist or a registrar, not a specialist. If you are aware of this and then you take a decision, I have absolutely no problem. But if you assume that you are going to get PG in the first year immediately, no. It doesn't happen even for US. US also after graduation, it takes minimum 2 to 3 years. I hope it is clear for each one of you. Okay. So basically a quick thing on what exactly we do. So we are a career counseling organization. We work on skill building of students. We give spirit of what's happening outside, and we work on CV and profile building of candidates. So I'll just quickly cover on what we do as an organization. We are a career counseling organization. What we provide is a career guidance in terms of handholding of students from first year of MBBS and plan their career. The outcome will be a career and not just a country. I just spoke to one of my students, and she always wanted to get into OBGY, and obviously we started with US as a destination. And she messaged me, she's doing extremely well right now in India, all right? Back in 2012, she went to Harvard. We did a rotation there at Harvard. She once she went to the system, she realized that maybe US is not where she wants to do a post graduation. She came back, she wrote a NEET PG, she got into Kim's Karad. She tried for UK, it did not work out, but it did not stop her to prepare for MRCOG, UKMLE. She wrote all the exams. Currently, she is with Australia and she's doing fantastically well. She messaged me that water birth and the newer techniques for uh, birth and all which is happening in India. Their site is one of the, I would say, leading in the country. And she messaged me saying that please give my example to people who are unsure about their career or fear that what if we fail. She said that I'm extremely happy in my life and I'm extremely happy in my career. And that is exactly what we try to do. In our program, we work with you and your parents to build your career, to identify short courses. Let's say I had a student who came to me immediately after his, MBBS that, okay, I don't want to work in MPH, MH, I don't want to do USMLE. So I made sure that he does short courses first in, data science, first in IT, so that first, he realizes whether he's liking math, he's liking data science. Once he understood and developed the interest, that's when we decided to do the master's program. Currently, he's a clinical research informatician working very successfully in Greater St. Louis in United States. So point what I'm trying to understand is that we work with candidates on building their career. We do a counseling, research. Our job is also to act as a filter to prevent people from any sort of scams which are happening, any sort of, change which might not be in the benefit of the students. We work on LinkedIn, we work on clinical rotation. So basically end-to-end support. Outcome can be any country, but our idea is to support you in your career journey, and that is where we play our role. So anybody wants to reach out to us, happy to reach out. These are few of our students who matched the last year. This year's result is out on Monday. We are awaiting a lot of our students to also get selected this year as well. For those who are interested, they can definitely subscribe to our Instagram channel also, where there is a lot of information available. You can always reach out to us on our Instagram as well. I will quickly show you our page on Instagram, where we're talking about when I visit all the med schools across India, or how AI is affecting, or how can you use LinkedIn to fetch interviews, or different talks, what kind of scams are happening in terms of dermatology tests, so different things we talk about on our platform basically. Then obviously a quick invitation to all of you tomorrow, for those who are really interested on working on CV. There is another community with which I am doing a session tomorrow morning called as Anatomy of a Meaningful CV. So anybody is interested can reach out to our team. I will be happy to send you the link of this session as well. All right, perfect. So thank you very much. Happy to kind of help you with any questions you guys have. It's time for taking up questions. Moderator, if you're there, let's pick up any
Yes.
questions anybody has, and feel we'll be happy to take up.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, sir, for this detailed session. We have, I guess, a couple of more questions. First is, isn't there a home country bond to be served if working in US?
That's a good question. So home country bond is there in US when you study on a J1 visa. So when you study on a J1 visa, you have a 7-year period under which you have to complete your PG and your fellowships. After which the bond says that for 2 years you have to come back and work in India, which is called as NORA, no objection to return to India. This was for the period of 2014 to 24. This bond was not given to any students, and hence they had to come back to India for 2 years. But currently, the recent students, who have applied, they are getting this NORI, which means that they can serve for 2 years in underserved area called as Conrad 30. And if they work in those Conrad 30 states in America, they get a J1 waiver. Okay, at this point of time, yes, for 10 years it was closed. And I will tell you, even if it is closed, imagine you getting, to do your PG, super PG in America, free of cost, and you come back and you work in India. So yes, there is a bond which is going to be repealed, but even if it does not, I have a simple comparison, and this is a real story, true story. Two students from the private med school in India, one did a PG in India for 3 years, and other did, the same 3 years spent time in USMLE. The person who did PG in India in a private med school spent roughly around 1.5 crores, versus a person who did USMLE route spent about 30 lakhs. But when the first year PG job came in US, the person who was doing the PG in the US got a job of 45 lakhs, and his friend who did PG from his same private medical college got a job worth only 15 to 20 lakh rupees. So if you're spending crores of rupees, what's an ROI? So tomorrow, even if after J1 visa, if I have to come back with a 1 crore in my bank balance and then pick up a job of 15 to 20 lakhs, that's okay. Rather spending 2 crores in private college PG and then doing a job of 15 to 20 lakhs. I hope that clears the analogy. All right. Perfect. Now,
Yes.
any other questions admin has? Yeah.
Yes. So there are two more questions. One question is, what about PG or licensing after MBBS in smaller European countries like Norway, Ireland, or Netherlands?
That's a good question. So now I will tell you one thing. Please understand. Any country you go, if the language of instruction is not English, you will have to first master the local language and then go to their healthcare professionals website and see how many doctors positions are available. What is happening for most of the places in Europe, the consultants who promote these countries will actually send you for a language course or an MPH MHA program. So the best way to decide on a country or a course, I'll give you a very simple, transparent trick. Go to this website called as World Directory of Medical Schools. Okay, this is very, very important. Otherwise, if you do not follow this website, there are agents and consultants who will take you for a ride. You know, now let's say somebody is saying Norway. Okay, let's select the country. Norway is there. Okay, Norway is not there in this list only, so they're not even part of the world directory. Which means if you pursue a degree from this country, not sure whether your degree will even recognized here. Okay, but let's say Sweden or some other country which is there in this list. So because if the college is not even there in this list, you can't even come back. Or let's say Finland. Okay, now there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 colleges. My request is open the college websites. You have school websites in English, Swedish, Finnish. You have the contact information. You see this language of instruction, it's in Swedish and Finnish. So first you have to develop that proficiency, then look for PG. You're still interested for it, no problem. Go to their actual website in English, write to them, see what is the reply, and only then pursue something. Not because an agent sitting in Bombay, Pune, Delhi telling you that I will get you a job and nothing is happening. If you write to the faculties there, if they like your CV, if they are inviting you for a post graduation via official channels, by all means consider that. Otherwise, do not believe anybody, because where the language is issue, there are a lot of Indian agents creating fake websites of these European colleges here in India. So you, for example, the website is in Swedish. How can you even make out anything, right? So a lot of time they create this, and on the backdrop, the mobile number is for an agent sitting in Kerala or Bangalore. That is the reality. So be very, very careful. So if you are talking about smaller countries in Europe, first master the language. Just give you example like Germany. Second, write directly to these schools. Find out how many seats are there. What are the entrance exam? Only then believe anybody else. Otherwise, you will be taken for a ride for sure. I can give it to you in writing. I hope it makes sense.
Yes, so we have two more questions. One question is,
All right.
as the prep strategy for USMLE and NEET PG are different, then how can we excel in both exams if we are preparing for one?
Okay, that's a good question. If you have had conversation with me, let's say 10 years ago, who is asking this question?
Paras.
Okay, Paras, if you would have this conversation 10 years ago, I would say yes, 100%. Please don't, travel in two boats. You have to select one. But now the scenario is different in two ways. First, because of the introduction or the, request from, NMC to introduce the next examinations, they are making NEET PG examination day by day clinical in nature. First thing. Second, the NEET PG examinations, you are going to appear only after MBBS. But USMLE examination, it triggers immediately after your second year of MBBS. So I always tell the students, if you pick up any USMLE question, what are you learning? You are doing virtual clinical rotation. You are learning about how to practice as a doctor in America. That is more fruitful. So it is not just about, if you differentiate medical school, USMLE or NEET PG, it will always be difficult. But if you consider medical school and any question of USMLE just like absorbing or learning medicine, it will become fun. So my request to you, Paras, will be that don't think from BTR perspective that only I have to memorize and hence need PG. No, it's not how it is. You open any USMLE free 120, okay, and see the questions. I always tell my students, that Every question of USML is nothing but a virtual clinical rotation. And it will teach you irrespective of the geography where you are going to work, whether you work in India, whether you work in US, UK, Australia, what you learn is about life. Any question you pick up, what is this? It is nothing but a patient case. A 14-year-old boy is brought to an emergency department. A two-year-old man comes to office with a 2 weeks, history of fever. These are nothing but patient cases, but USMLE Step 1 teaches you application based on just first 2 years MBBS knowledge. And that is what you have to understand. 55-year-old woman, 3-year-old boy, 18-year-old woman. So what you learn is patient cases, and that I've seen a lot of students with top Indian government colleges also feel, it really helps to their knowledge if they want to come. Or the side effect of USMLE is you become a good clinical diagnosing in terms of as a physician. All right. So NEET fees is all the portion together. In USMLE at third year, you just prepare for first 2 years. In fact, people in the third year who prepare for USMLE, their clinical anatomy questions will help them do well in final year surgery. Their patho, physio, pharma questions will help them do well in final year medicine. I hope that is making sense.
Yes. We have two more questions again. So for the first one is, do we have to give FMG examination after coming back to India after PG in US?
Okay, this question is asked by whom?
Eti.
I think first of all, where have you done your MBBS? Because if you have done MBBS outside India, then yes, FMG is still valid. You cannot escape the FMG. But if your MBBS is from India, then there are no examinations to be given. If you have a PG from UK, US, Australia, all the degrees are very much recognized back here in India. But if your MBBS is not from India, then definitely you will have to write. So MBBS from US, UK, Australia, any English speaking country, both MBBS and PG are recognized and no extra examinations have to be given. But if your MBBS is from Russia, China, Ukraine, Georgia, or any of these countries, even if you do PG from America, you will still have to write the FMG examination. I hope that answers your question, Eti.
We have one more question. She says yes. Yes, it does answer. We have another question from Paras. If PG degree from India is valid in US for some of the specialties, so will this rule stay the same or is there a need to repeat PG in US?
Correct. For us, at this point of time, orthopedics, radiology, medicine, pediatrics and psychiatry are on the way. These degrees are very much recognized in MD and DNB. So at this point of time, the notification is already there. So if you go on the FSMB alternative pathway website, they are already mentioning which all states and what all degrees are going to be recognized. It's already there on the official Federation of State Medical Board. But does that mean you escape the USMLE? No, you still have to write the USMLE examination. And in some provisions, you will also have to work in your home country for 5 years. So they require a 5 years of home country experience. Okay, and specialties like radiology and orthopedics, they have an alternative pathway which was always there. This is not today. This is like is there for many years. Radiology, and the best part is they recognize both MD and DNB. So it's not just in MD degree. A lot of time people are worried that whether they should consider DNB or not. So if you see the alternative pathway on the website, India is the only country, and both MD and DNB of radiology. Same is for orthopedics. Okay, and primary care specializations now they are getting added up. I hope that makes sense. And you still have to write the USMLE. Nobody escapes USMLE, right? So MBBS plus MD plus DNB or MD degree. I hope it makes sense, Paras. Perfect. So I hope you guys are getting information which did help them and help you over this weekend. It's been a Saturday. and you guys did turn up. So I hope what we're talking it is making sense. I just want a feedback from in fact after this session, and we're speaking with the clinical involved team as well. Any feedback or suggestions? Does this session help you as a community? And any questions you have or any more topics which you want me to talk upon, I'll be happy to be part of this session. All right. Anybody else has any questions?
No, no questions. Just I want to thank Clinically Evolve for organizing this session again. I hope it was very helpful, as Sir is saying to all the students. But yes, if you want another session like a continuation or you have questions, you can get in touch with us directly. Plus, you can get in touch with Clinically Evolve as well. Let them collate everything, and then we can set up one more. Session, and everybody can join, and for the students or your friends who could not join today, they can join in that session and we can plan something accordingly. And once again, just to reiterate, we are providing one-on-one counseling sessions or mentorship programs which are different from what you get from your other service providers, and we don't serve as agents. We work merely in the best interest for students, for you. Even if you do USMLE, if you want to appear for USMLE, PLAB, AMC, whatever, but an eye opening will always be there from our side at the beginning of every counseling session that you have. So thank you so much everybody for joining, and all the very best for to everyone, to all the students for their future career pathways ahead, whatever you choose to. And we are just a phone call or just even a message away, and you can ping us at whatever time you like. No time is barrier for all you guys. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, everyone. I'll end this session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you everyone.